Raspberry Pi D-Star Net. Here we are on Reflector 38 Charlie. And it is a Monday night, the first Monday of the month. So that means I will be your host, W4LKS. My name is Randy, and I'm near Spokane, Washington. So before we get going here, I want to give an opportunity for anyone connected to the Reflector who doesn't want to stick around and listen to the net. You can unlink now, and I'll leave it quiet for 30 seconds or so. Good, everyone wants to stick around. Well, this is the net where we talk about Raspberry Pi computers and similar type computers and using them with D-Star and your ham radio hobby. Well, it seems like in the last month or two, we haven't really been talking much about resolving any issues or building your D-Star hotspot. It seems like that's a fairly straightforward thing now. Lots of people have got that all figured out, and there's lots of help on the internet and owners that know how to do it. So I think probably, at least as far as I'm concerned, it's probably time to open it up to more stuff about your ham radio hobby. So Raspberry Pi computers, doing your ham radio hobby, and with a special emphasis on D-Star. Although, like we talked about many times before, there are 3 or 4 images that you can download from the internet, and you burn them, you write them to a SD card, a micro SD card, and you stick it in the Raspberry Pi computer, you boot it up, and you're in business. So, for example, the D-Star Commander image, the Maryland image, the Western D-Star image, those are the 3 top ones, I think. There are a few others that are up and coming or out and going, and I have high hopes about the Pi Star image, but I couldn't get it working with mine. So if anybody knows about the Pi Star image, be sure to tell us about your experience with that. So what we do is we start with news and announcements for Raspberry Pi or D-Star, and then we go into a question and answer period. And when those kind of taper off, we just do regular check-ins, usually more towards the end of the hour. So let's start off with news and announcements for Raspberry Pi and D-Star. Come on ahead if you have any. I didn't see anybody key up there. News and announcements for Raspberry Pi and D-Star. Well, let's see. So I went Googling around. When's the next Raspberry Pi going to come out, right? The Raspberry Pi 4, or whatever they're going to call the next one. And they're saying it won't be till 2019. And they're saying that that's hard to cram any more stuff on that little credit card size circuit board because it already is about at its limit for dissipating the heat that's given off by the stuff. So they'll have to do something else. Hey, what's wrong with attaching a big old heat sink on it? I mean, that's what some of the other guys are doing. I don't know. I guess in my mind, Raspberry Pi needs a lot more RAM, at least 2 gigs of RAM. That'd be nice. Anybody else have any news, announcements, or comments about that? Come on ahead. Did you see anything interesting at the Dayton Hamvention that has to do with Raspberry Pi or D-Star? I'd really like to hear about that. I just returned from the CPAC Ham Convention at Seaside, Oregon, which is the largest hamvention in the Pacific Northwest, and that was fun. Anybody else want to say anything about what's new and exciting?
KM4HRR, Brendan.
KM4HRR, very good. Come on ahead.
W4LKS and the group KM4HRR, Brendan here in Northern Virginia, Reston, about 20 miles west-northwest of Washington, D.C. Kind of more of a question than a comment. I can't remember where I heard it. It might have been here, but I'm not 100% sure. So many nets out there recently. Somebody mentioned something about one of the Chinese radio makers coming out with a new D-Star enabled radio in a handheld format. Does anybody know anything about that? Or maybe that was a dream I had. I just thought it was reality. Oh, actually, and regarding your question about things you've learned about Raspberry Pis for D-Star at Hamvention, which I thought was a great new venue. A couple of hiccups and a couple of burps, but I think they'll figure it out. They did a great job. I enjoyed myself, and I heard from a bunch of different vendors that a bunch of people are working on cross-mode operations for current products that are out, or the introduction of new products that will enable cross-mode, multi-mode, cross-mode digital voice communications to include D-Star. So not much detail about that other than people are working on it, and it's nice to hear that people are working on that stuff. So back to net, KM4HRR.
Yeah, thanks, Brendan. Yeah, I think there is some bunch of work doing that. Let's see, what if you get a Shark RF open spot? Supposedly it can cross connect between Yaesu Fusion and DMR. I don't know anybody that's actually doing that, but I keep hearing that it does that. Yeah, that would be cool if you could stick your Betamax tape in your VHS player, right? So anyway, yeah, thanks for that, Brendan. Let's see. I think I see WA7 VFQ. Stand by. WA7 VFQ. It's W4LKS. Are you trying to get in? Well, my software says when somebody's trying to double with me, but I didn't hear anything from Jim there. Yeah, one new thing that I saw was the guys at Northwest Digital Radio have a new board. It's going to be coming out pretty soon. He didn't say what the name of it was, but it's a UDRC2 essentially. But it has an RF section on it with a little SMA antenna connector. And so it looked to me like it could be just about like a DB Mega. It has a GPIO connector on it, so it plugs into the GPIOs on a Raspberry Pi, and a little antenna connector, and it does, what do you say, 100 times more RF power than the DV Mega with, so a tenth of a watt or something like that. That looked pretty cool. He actually had them in his hands down there at Seaside, and I was looking at it. I took it out of his hands for a few seconds. He looked nervous. Yeah, okay. It's W4LKS. It's the Raspberry Pi D-Star Net. We're looking for any news, information, or what's happening with you. Come on ahead.
KC8YQLB.
Well, I see Bill there in Ohio, KC8YQL. What do you think, Bill? Is the grass growing again there in Xenia? Go ahead, Bill.
Good evening, Randy, and all that. It's quite interesting. You just asked me if the grass is growing because I just dropped $1,000. Almost had to take a mortgage out for one of these fancy zero-turn mowers. And it's actually 5 years old, Randy. When it was new, it was almost $15,000. So actually, 1/3 the price. I done okay as long as it don't blow up on me. So yeah, as long as it don't blow up, I'm ready for some grass cutting. And I just put this net out over on the Fusion net on Reflector 2 Module 23. So hopefully some of the guys from the Fusion net pops over here and maybe gives you another check-in. They might like what they hear over here on the Raspberry Pi net. Hey Randy, did you guys hear Jason on 2.0 ham radio? Did you guys catch the introduction of that TYT 2017 radio? He had that on the DMR net last Tuesday, I guess it'd be a week ago tomorrow. And a really good presentation on the TYT 2017 radio. Of course, that's a dual band, the first dual band Tier 2 radio, other than the CS800 Delta. They had a handful of those that they actually sold as dual band mobiles at State Hamvention. But anyway, everybody's pretty excited about the TYT guys doing the dual band. So I think it is available to order, not a pre-order. It was pre-order only. Now you can actually order that radio. And I think today he was supposed to got some of them in and send them out to the pre-order guys. I have not looked his website up. I just got in the door here about 20 minutes ago. We had a club meeting tonight. So as soon as I unkey the mic, I'm going to go to GrapevineAmateurRadio.com and see if Jason did indeed send some of those brand new radios out today. That's all we got, Randy. Back to you, sir. KC8YQL. I want to hear some of the Raspberry Pi stuff. So we'll be listening in the background, taking some notes. Oh, we got a DMR net coming up too on the California Pampa system tonight. They are on 3106 at 11 p.m. KC8YQL, back to net.
Very good. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. Yeah, the TYT 2017. So I just did a Google for that one. And it says it's going to ship in May of 2017. So should be out there somewhere. They must have got their FCC approval, and hopefully you can go to your ham radio outlet or wherever it is they sell those and get them. Yes, I went to the ham radio outlet booth at Seaside CPAC ham convention, and they have all the cool stuff there, of course, but there was no Katie Allen. So I says to the guy, "Where's Katie?" And so this is a big tall guy with this long handlebar mustache, and he goes, "Katie? Who's Katie? I don't know Katie. We don't have anybody named Katie." Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering. I was looking up to make sure it was ham radio outlet. Anyway, W4LKS, this is Raspberry Pi D-Star Net. We need some more stuff to talk about. If you got any news or announcements or anything interesting to talk about, maybe even a question, come on ahead.
Hey, Randy, I'll do a real quick follow-up on your last over.
Okay, go ahead, Bill.
Katie was hanging out with Tom. Tom at the W5 KUP booth. In fact, she was over there picking on Tom several times. I think she was over there, was it 3 times? And oh my, is she ever a happy-go-lucky gal to listen to? I really enjoy listening to that gal. I typed her a message. She seen it. I told her to tell Mark, KJ4VO, I was going to send her back to the booth to keep him straight. Most of you guys probably know Mark. He's the ham radio outlet store manager for the Atlanta store there in Georgia. And he's just about like her. He's a happy-go-lucky guy, and he's on all the digital modes, and he's got all these hot spots hooked up in his car, cruising back and forth to work. And man, that ought to be illegal. I don't know, Randy. What do you think? Shouldn't that be illegal? If you're a ham radio outlet store manager having that much fun with all your products and getting paid for it? Wow. Hey, it's enough being silly for me. Back to you, sir. KC8YQL. And Katie done an excellent job, by the way, promoting ham radio and ham radio outlet store, too. KC8YQL.
Yes, she does. She's just always so well spoken, and she looks like she's having fun, and it just makes it fun to watch her. So that's kind of why I was hoping that she would be there, but nope, not there in Seaside. I think these were guys from the Portland, Oregon stores, probably. I found in when I was down there scrounging around at the flea market a something that is going to help me with my other digital ham radio obsession, which is APRS. I went there looking for an APRS transceiver that I could use for a digipeater that I run for my house, and I found a really nice, good condition Alinco DR135T Mark II transceiver. Wow, it doesn't look like it's been trashed. I'm looking at it right now. Hasn't been trashed or thrashed, and the guy wanted only $35 for it. I don't know if it works yet. He promised me it worked well, and it looks like it would. It's not all dusty or dirty or anything. So, $35 for an Alinco DR135. That's going to be my new Digipeater transceiver. Yeah, that was a fun time down CPAX. I only went for the one day. It's a two-day ham convention, but it's at the beach. I wanted to go to the beach the other day, so I skipped going to see if I won the grand prize, and I went to the beach. Anyway, thanks lots for that, Bill, and let's see if there's anybody else out there who has anything for us. Come on ahead.
It is Sarah WIQ, Gary.
N0WIQ. Hi, Carrie. Come on ahead. Go ahead. What you got?
Well, I don't have a lot, but I have significant information about a Raspberry Pi and a DV Mega, but on the other hand, I don't have a whole lot to say, because that's my limited experience with D-Star.
Okay, well, what do you know about Raspberry Pi and a DV Mega that you'd like to share? Anything new? Come on ahead.
Well, the operating systems for the Raspberry Pi are actually a Linux kernel and the buffering they do for it. So you have to know something about Linux to make them work. And then you load a kernel on there that includes the software for the DV Mega. And then it's just a matter of setting them up to make them work. And well, once you got one working, you can make a significant number of them work with that setup. But on the other hand, I know there's a DVAPs and other things that can do D-Star also. And the big thing I hear is something changing and causing the modulation to become R2D2 type of chatter. And as near as I can tell, that is a missing link in the RF path for the modulation. But hey, that's as near as I can tell.
Well, yeah, as far as I know, when you're hearing R2D2, that means you're at the limits of the RF path for the D-Star digital transmission. Okay, so I hear lots of people saying with their D-Star hotspots that it's disconnecting or it's losing or it's cutting out or, so many times people have problems, and I believe that it has to do with they're trying to do it with Wi-Fi. So first thing to do is always check your Wi-Fi connection. And if you want to have a reliable D-Star hotspot at your house, don't use Wi-Fi. Plug it into Ethernet. And as long as you have a good, reliable network or internet connection at your house, half of your headaches are going to go away. What do you think there, Carrie? Go ahead.
Oh, you hit the nail on the head. Like the image I use is set up to do only Wi-Fi. But I know enough about Linux that I expand the file system so I can set it up to be a normal link into my local area network without Wi-Fi. And therefore I don't have RF changes because of Wi-Fi. I don't have RF changes because of the radio through the hotspot because the hotspot is local to my house. And the microphone is sitting up in my handheld, which is around my house. Either of those two RF links lose the data. You start getting the R2D2 chatter. So, one of those things to pay attention to. At least that's the way I interpret some of the stuff I do.
KF5PBF.
Well, Carrie, your audio just faded away. That whole transmission was just barely perceivable. I turned my volume way up and I couldn't even hear you. So I did see KF5PDF also key up in there. So stand by for a second. Carrie, are you talking right into the microphone? Come on ahead.
Well, I undoubtedly let the handheld get further away from my mouth. How's this?
That's a little better. Yep, I think I can hear you now.
like I say, whether it's the Wi-Fi RF link or the radio to the hotspot RF link, it changes. And you're going to get the R2D2 type carrier. At least that is what I think it is. And I haven't found anybody to argue with that thought then.
Okay, well, let's see. So, do you have any questions or anything that we can help you with? Maybe give us a direct question if you need some help there. Go ahead, Carrie.
Well, I have 4 of the Raspberry Pi and DB Mega hotspots, and they're all the I can't remember the name they are, but they always come just super for Wi-Fi. Now I'm getting anxious to go to the Raspberry Pi DB Mega hotspot, so I'm going to put the Western D-Star image on it. And then and try to make that work. I've had issues making it work in the past. And so, if somebody's got some hints about that, maybe that's a question I could ask.
Okay, that last breath you said, and so if somebody has hints about that, maybe that's a question. That blasted out of my speakers, so whatever you did just prior to that, changed your audio volume considerably. So, I had to turn the audio way down. So, alright, let's throw it open, see if anybody has any suggestion for Carrie there. He's looking for, He's considering getting a new Raspberry Pi 3 and a DB Mega, and he's thinking about a different image to use in there. Does anybody have any suggestion that's going to help him with his R2D2 issues? Come on ahead.
W6CJX.
Hi, Bob. Yeah, W6CJX I got. That was the only one I heard there. Let's go to Bob. W6CJX. I'll give it to you. Go ahead.
Well, good evening, everyone on the net, Randy and Carrie and everyone. Well, first of all, I want to comment on Carrie's audio. I will have to assume, not knowing what radio he has, and I wasn't looking because I was listening, but wasn't looking at the scroll, that he probably has either a 31 or a 51 ICOM. Of course, that was pretty easy. And I would say he's wrapping his little baby finger over the microphone little hole that's on the bottom right-hand side of the face of the speaker as you're looking at it and talking to it. I've done that more than once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, and people said, your audio is awfully low. And then, of course, I look down and see where my little baby finger is, and sure enough, if it wasn't over the microphone hole. That was my first thing. I guess the only other thing with what he's asking for on the Raspberry Pi 3, I would still go with possibly D-Star Commander. That's really the only one I know of that I use anyway. But Bob had mentioned something about disabling the Wi-Fi, I think, or something. So anyway, more than anything, I just wanted to make a comment on his low audio and then having it open up and pick up right there at the end. So if you're listening, Carrie, just make sure your fingers aren't anywhere on the front of the radio. And it'll take care of it. Anyway, just wanted to jump in and say hello also. W4LKS from W6CJX and back to Net Control.
L0WIQ without my finger on the microphone.
Holy cow, I had to turn it down. Yeah, that must have been it. Go ahead, Carrie.
Well, first of all, I wasn't familiar with the ID51 enough to know where the microphone was. So I was talking into the side of it from the other side of the radio. And second of all, yes, as the D-Star commander, I understand, and that was the image I used on all of my Raspberry Pis. But I knew enough about Linux that I could set it up with a static IP address and put it in my local area network with cabling instead of using Wi-Fi.
Okay, yeah, that's the way I'd do it. If you wanna do it around your house, you're gonna be a lot better off using Ethernet cable. So I have a couple other suggestions for you. If you're looking for something else, you've already conquered the D-Star Commander. Look for Pi-Star. That one is from MW0 MWZ. Just Google Pi-Star and you'll find it. Another good one, if you're a Linux guy, which I think you are, is Compass Linux. It's more of a build your own. So in Compass Linux, it's a full blown image. It's based on Raspbian, but it's been tweaked by the guys at Northwest Digital Radio to be special purpose Raspberry Pi for ham radio operators. So, and it also has a repository for packages that includes lots of ham radio software, including the G4KLX stuff. So installing G4KLX is manual, but they make it easy because of their repository. Back to you, Carrie. What do you think?
Well, I know that a lot of the Raspberry Pi people suggest a fairly small SD card. And I've never used anything less than 16 gigabyte. Maybe I've used even bigger for some applications, but hey, that's a good starting point. I mean, even the Western D-Star image comes with 8 gigabytes, and you put it on a 16 gigabyte, you get twice the space, and then expand the file system, and away you go. But hey, such is life, and that's because I've been using Pcode mass storage in a lot of situations, and I'm not afraid of making it bigger.
Okay, well anyway, there's a couple suggestions for you if you want to try some new stuff. Trying new stuff is always fun, that's for sure. And, sometimes you realize, what you had before wasn't all that bad. So, anyway, well, let's see. Let's see if we can open it up for other questions or comments or new discussions or questions that people have setting up their Raspberry Pi D-Star hotspot. If you're stuck, come on ahead.
K2IL8.
All right, we got Bill in Treasure Island, Florida. That just sounds like just a paradise to me. I bet you it probably is there, Bill. K2ILH. Come on ahead.
Yeah, okay, this is K2ILH. Well, I'm surprised. I'm not in Treasure Island at the present time. I'm in Western New York. And my question had to do with the image on the used on the Raspberry Pi. I'm using the Maryland D-Star image, and there's appears to be some way to schedule events, such as I could schedule it to automatically connect to this reflector for the net. But I've not found any instructions on how to use this feature. I wonder if anybody could, or anybody knows how to use that feature, and possibly you could post a reference on the web for it so I could read it tomorrow. This is K2ILH.
You came to the right place, Bill. Very good. All right, so I'm going to rephrase Bill's question. He is using Maryland D-Star, the Maryland D-Star image. He wants to know how he can schedule various nets on various reflectors in his Maryland D-Star image so that it connects automatically. So does anybody have advice for Bill? If come on ahead. Didn't see or hear anything there. Bill's looking for some advice on how he can automatically have his Raspberry Pi D-Star hotspot connect to various reflectors. Anybody know? Well, I didn't hear anything, so I don't know directly, Bill. Sorry about that. I don't do it that way. So usually, if I go and look on the internet for the net that I want to go to, and then I just manually hook it up, probably just like you've been doing as well. So I guess we'll just have to keep on the lookout for that. Seems like you ought to be able to do what in Linux is called a cron job, which is execute a command line command at a particular time, which is relatively easy to do in Linux. But I'm not sure what you would put on the command line to cause it to connect to a reflector. So, gee, sorry about that. But I might ask you a question, Bill. Why do you like Maryland D-Star image? Could it be that it was on the card that you bought when you bought your DB Mega or something? Why do you like Maryland? Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, fine business. This is K2ILH in Western New York. Thanks for reminding me to change my location. And, well, I used, years ago I used to, I can't even remember what it was when I ran before the Raspberry Pi. But when Raspberry Pi came out, I tried the Western D-Star image and used that for a while. And I don't remember why I changed to Maryland D-Star, but it seemed to have a lot more features. And I did like, such as when it reboots, it sends me an email telling me what the IP address is and so forth. And I think, well, of course, I can operate it headless using VNC, which is what I do. And on the screen, there is an icon that says schedule events. And if I click on that icon, it opens up a text window into which I can write something, which is probably your cron event. But, rather than fool around, it would be easier if somebody had already done it and say, this is what it should say. Back to you, this is K2ILH.
N0WIQ with a comment.
Well, go ahead, Carrie.
Well, it's been mentioned, as you said, you can set up crons with Linux that'll set up a schedule of events, and each event could be a different hookup or linked up to a different, link for the D-Star, but I have not done it, so I don't know the particulars, and I have not used the Maryland image either. I may have to try that myself. But anyway, I'm sure that's what's going on, is just the cron scheduling of the Linux system lets you set up different events on a timetable. And the different event could be setting up different links on the D-Star.
Yeah, and when he clicks on that thing that he sees on the screen, it's opening up the cron tab file where that wants to do that. So most Linux variants now have a master cron tab file, which causes various housekeeping functions to happen automatically. And then it also will execute an hourly cron tab file, and then a daily cron tab file, and then a weekly and a monthly cron tab file. So usually all you have to do is add a command line to either your hourly or your daily or your weekly or whatever, and it gets done to those. But if you want to, for example, connect to REF038 Charlie every Monday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time, then yeah, you would have to edit the master cron tab file. I don't know. I think, Bill, you're gonna probably need to Google around or see if you can find somebody else. I believe there is a command that's part of the G4KLX software. That's the thing that makes your D-Star hotspot. I believe there is a command line option to control that. So I don't know what it is offhand. So anyway, I guess we kind of struck out there for you, Bill. Sorry about that. And yeah, I suspect it has to do with cron tab. Let's see if there's anybody else out there that has anything to add to that or wants to start talking about something else. Come on ahead.
W7EFS.
There's Tony, W7EFS, and I bumped into him down there at Seaside, and I came back with the sunburn. Tony, how about you? Go ahead.
Well, I kept my shirt on, but being around that salt water like that, that'll certainly do that if you're exposed at all. And I stopped by Saturday night to yours and Rose's trailer, and somebody stole your truck. So it wasn't there. So I brought some food, but nobody to share it with, so I had to eat it myself. Anyway, regarding Bill's question, you are hot on the trail there, Randy. And Kelly, was that the name, or Carrie? With the cron job, that is part of it. But I wrote a shell script for Duff earlier this year that did exactly that. So it would, of course, it didn't have to connect anything but 29 alpha on Saturday night D-Star net, and 01 Charlie for the Sunday night D-Star, and 38 Charlie for Monday at the right times. So the simple script, what it does, and it happens very quickly, is it kills the IRC DDB gateway process. And then it uses SED, the stream editor, SED, to edit in place, that's the -I option, edit in place the IRC DDB gateway file. And that could be in /etc or /etc/OpenDV, depending on your distribution. But anyway, there are, let's see, two lines in there essentially that it needs to change. One of them is the reflector 1 equals, and with that you would, with that said command, you would replace what's there with what you want to connect to, and then the next line is at startup equals 1, meaning yes. So once those said commands have changed those lines, then you just restart the IRC PDP gateway process and it will connect to that. So we tried and tested this and observed it on Duff's UDRC2 running the Compass Linux. We tested that for several weeks and it works perfectly. So it's a little complicated to go into more detail with voice there, but that's how it's done, and it is entirely possible. W7EFS.
Oh, darn, I'm sorry I missed out on that. Yeah, because Rose and I were out chasing around in town for, I think, until like 8 or 9 Saturday night. Well, hopefully it didn't go to waste, but yeah, so I follow you there. Yeah, IRC DDB Gateway has a feature whereby it will connect to a reflector automatically when it starts up. So what you do is you just dynamically modify that. First you shut down the IRC DDB Gateway software, then you modify the startup command, and then you start the software back up. Yeah, very cool. Good idea. So there you go, Bill. It's a suggestion. Yeah, you'd have to do some thinking about it, but I suspect there's other methods out there as well. Very good. Well, thanks for that, Tony. Appreciate that. Anybody else have any discussion for us, or new subject, or anything else? Come on ahead. Let's open it up to plain old check-ins. Thanks for dropping by and listening in tonight. Even if you don't have any questions or anything, if you just want to say hello, I'd sure like to hear about your Raspberry Pi setup when you say hello. So come on ahead.
W7SST. VL1.
Whiskey Alpha 7, Victor Foxtrot, Quebec, Jim. AM4S. KB5HPT, Lou. KM4HRR, Brendan.
KF4BLT.
All right, let's hold it up right there. KF4DLK was the last one. So here are the ones that I did here: W7SSK, ZL1TZP, W7VFQ, N4SVD, KB5HPT, KM4HRR, and KF4DLK. Did I miss anybody that keyed up there that I didn't read back? Pretty good. Let's start with my dad over in Mukilteo, W7SSK. Good evening, sir.
Hi, Wayne, and good evening to everybody on the net. I'm enjoying listening to the questions and answers. Don't have too much to offer. I will say that my DVAP connected directly to my router with a Cat5 cable is probably the most stable thing I've seen in D-Star. It just runs. The only time I ever have to reboot it is if we have a power bump and the chip gets garbled or whatever happens to it there, corrupted. But anyway, the D-Star Commander, the DVAP, and the Raspberry Pi 3 just is solid as a rock. So why don't you get on with some of the other guys? W7SSK, back to Net and Randy.
Well, very good. Thank you for that. Always great to hear from you. Yes, I keep hearing guys say, oh, something's wrong with the reflector, something wrong with the repeaters. No, just check your Wi-Fi. Start there first. Let's go next to ZL1TZP. ZL1TCP, that must be New Zealand. Come on ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Randy, and everyone on the net. This is ZL1TZP in New Zealand. Name here is Steve. I have checked into the net before, but it's Tuesday afternoon here in New Zealand, so often I'm working, so I can't get on the net. Today's a rostered day off, so it works well for me. Coming to here on a Raspberry Pi repeater setup. Seems to work very well, very stable. Been running here for a couple of years, and only gets restarted when I have power failures here. So it works very well. Also have Raspberry Pi DV Mega with all packed in a little case with battery, etc. for portable use. And something new that I've been doing in the last couple of weeks with the Raspberry Pi is I have set up a new reflector. I'm not sure whether anyone else has done that, but I set up a XLX 870. It's a multi-mode reflector, and using a Raspberry Pi 3 to do that. Seems to work very well. Got the idea from friends in Japan who have been doing it. Seems like in Japan it's quite popular, but I haven't heard of many other people using a Raspberry Pi for building a reflector. Okay, that's all from me. Back to you, Randy. This is ZL1TZ.
All right, very good. Well, thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. Yeah, we got all that. So you set up an XLX reflector on a Raspberry Pi. Okay, so to me that just seems counterintuitive because usually a D-Star reflector needs a really high bandwidth and some horsepower. So I'm not really sure. I suppose your Raspberry Pi XLX reflector, I'm just guessing that it isn't, something that would be able to take on hundreds of connections or anything like that, but probably for your use to talk to your friends, I bet you it works just fine. So you said it's XLX 870, I believe, and hopefully I got that right. And of course, if for those that don't know what an XLX is, that's an X reflector. It's a multi-protocol, so it can handle the standard protocols that an REF reflector does, but also it does X reflectors. So very good. I'll have to try connecting up to XLX 870 and give you a shout. See if I can hear anything. I did set up an XLX reflector for our use here, XLX035, and it's been up and running for 6 months or so, and not too many people use it, but it's there. But it's hosted on a virtual computer that's in a data room somewhere, so it has a really high-speed internet connection. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate that. Let's see. We got some more here to go. Next one is Jim, WA7VFQ. Go ahead, Jim.
KF5PBF.
Hello, Randy. Good evening. It is a beautiful evening here, and I assume it's about the same up there in Spokane, or Four Lakes, I should say. We've got beautiful weather, and I'm coming to you from my Kenwood THC74A into a Shark RF. But I listened for part of the net on my Raspberry Pi 2 with DV Mega running the D-Star Commander. So it's all good. There's lots of ways to skin these cats out, and I hope everybody finds the one that works best for them. WA7VFQ clearing back to that.
KF4BLK.
All right. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. Good hearing from you tonight. Let's see. I'm reminded here that I skipped over one. KF5PDF was in there. And so I'm sorry I didn't go back to you. KF5PDF, come on ahead. Well, I saw him key up earlier, and I saw him key up just a minute ago. I think it's a him, KF5PDF. Did you have something for us? Come on ahead.
WA2ANG.
Well, nothing from W5PDF there, KF5PDF, sorry. So we're going to keep going down the list that we have here. Next is N4SVD. N4SVD, come ahead.
And here is N4SVD. The name is AC Alpha Charlie. I'm in the middle of my 2-month cross-country vacation. Taking 2 months off from full-time RVing. Can you believe that? Yep, been full-time RVing for 24 years and decided to take 2 months off and go cross-country in a pickup there with a friend of mine, and we've been all over Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, up into Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, and working our way back down now. We're in Alabama again. I'm talking to you off of a DHAP, Delta Hotel Alpha Papa, with a Raspberry Pi 3. And, of course, a DVAP 2-meter. And we've just got it set up here at some friend's house where we're staying. I got it set up here in the upstairs bedroom. Thought I'd get in here and check in on the net. It sure is nice being able to carry D-Star wherever I go in a portable fashion there. using the DHAP. So it's quite nice here in Alabama. I am east of Birmingham in a little town called East Aboga. East Aboga. And no, there is not a West Aboga. At least I haven't found it yet. There's only an East Aboga. But it's on Interstate 20 there, east of Birmingham and north of Talladega Racetrack. Anyway, good evening, everybody. They're all sounding good. I'm enjoying the net, and I'm enjoying my 2-month vacation. Back to you, Randy. This is M4SVD. The name is AC Alpha Charlie.
Oh, very good, AC. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight and keying up saying hello from east of Boga, Alabama. That's a mouthful. Yeah, real good. Yeah, your signal is awesome. So, real good audio and not a hint of R2D2. So, very good. You did it right. Appreciate hearing from you, AC. And, gee, it just must be tough to have to take a vacation from all that vacationing. So, let's go down to El Paso, Texas. That's where Lou hails from, KB5HPT. Hi, Lou.
Well, good evening, Randy, and everybody else on the net. Great net tonight, Randy. Doing a great job, as usual. I'm coming to you tonight with a DV Mega and a Raspberry Pi. This is just one of 6 Raspberry Pis that I have. Getting ready to start another project with another Raspberry Pi, and I'm going to be I'm waiting on my UDRC board, and hopefully, I don't know what kind of a project I'm getting myself into, but we're going to try to cross D-Star over into C4 FM on one of our local repeaters, the C4 FM repeaters here. So we shall see what happens. I may be in for something I didn't know I was bargaining for, but anyhow, great net, and we will catch you later. Have a good one. This is KB5HPT.
Thanks, Lou. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Good hearing from you as well. Yeah, so I would not be surprised if some D-Star purists, don't really want to hear about that, but it's always good to experiment and try it just to see what you can do and, what works, what doesn't work. So, no harm in doing that, especially if you're just doing it on your local repeater there. Very cool. All right, so next one, I still have KM4HRR, DF4DLK. I did see also WA2ANG, I believe it was. So let's go next to KM4HRR. Go ahead.
W4LKS and the group KM4HRR, Brendan in Reston, Virginia. Just saying hello and checking in. And tonight I am, just like every other night, I am using my Kenwood THD74A, which I absolutely love. And I am talking across my condo at extra low power to my Raspberry Pi 3B DV Mega setup, running the KD5 RAB MMDVM image, and I have that right now set up running only D-Star, and hanging off of one of the USB ports on the Raspberry Pi 3B is a USB cable that runs over to a blue stack that I'm currently using for my DMR setup. And I am actually thinking about purchasing the new Yaesu FT70, I think VR handheld, and breaking into the Fusion world just to fill in all that time that I don't have on my calendar. It's just another mode. So that's my simple Raspberry Pi setup, and I love it. It's rock solid. Had almost no problems. The only problems I have had were self-induced. So blame me. Thanks for a great net. Learned a couple of things tonight. I'll pass it back to W4LKS. This is KM4HRR.
Very good. Thanks, Brendan. Appreciate that. In Reston, Virginia. Yes, I have a Kenwood PhD 74 as well. I do love that radio. That's my new favorite. Of course, I said earlier, my other digital radio obsession is APRS. So that handheld radio does D-Star excellently, and APRS about as good as anything. So what could be better? I don't know, maybe a mobile version of same with a big touch screen. Stick it in the car. Okay, I'm just thinking out loud. Let's go next to KF4DLK. KF4DLK, come on ahead.
W4LKS, KF4DLK. Randy, good evening to you and everyone on the net. This is Tyrell coming to you from Blytheville, or as they say here locally, Blytheville, Arkansas, outside of what used to be called Acre Air Force Base. And using a Raspberry Pi 3 with, actually it's a DV Mega. There's a variant of this in the U.S., but this is one that I picked up when I was in Poland. And it is called a DVSP, so a Delta Victor Sierra Papa 2, the number 2, if anybody's interested in looking that up. The cool thing about it is an Arduino based, so you hook this thing up to your computer or your Raspberry Pi, and it also has a really cool LCD display that tells you your frequency and call sign and all this information, so it's really nice to kind of take a look at. There's other homebrew variants of that out there. And the one thing that I kind of wanted to pass on to everyone, especially those that are kind of new and tinkering and stuff, is I would really encourage everyone that's going to mess with this stuff to really learn VI. And that's the editor that's built into pretty much any Unix or Linux system. And the reason that I say VI, and let me just reset here. The reason I say VI is simply because if you learn VI, even though it is a little herky-jerky in the beginning, you can work on any distribution. So that's a really powerful thing if you get off into experimenting or you think you want to try another distro or another kind of an image. You're going to be able to troubleshoot and navigate and do all those things because you know VI, you can change the configuration. So I highly recommend that. And there's lots of books and tutorials and stuff like that online to learn that. But there's other editors. People will argue that they have their favorite one and stuff like that. But strongly would recommend VI because that's gonna get you a lot further pretty much anywhere you go. Anyway, Randy, thanks again to you and everybody on the net. And pass it back to you. This is KF4DLK. Back to Net Control.
Very good. Thanks, Tyrell. I think that is good advice. VI on Linux is my favorite editor. And yeah, it's a little steep learning curve at first, but one of the things about it is once you start VI and you start editing a file, you don't see, there's no helpful text on the screen. In order to use it well, you need to know what the commands are, and you kind of have to memorize them. But the basic commands are not hard to do. Yeah, and there's tons of help for it. I agree with that. VI, that's my favorite. Of course, back in the Unix world, there was religious wars about which text editor you should use. I used CVI and stuck with it. Very good. Let's see. There was another station in there I did see. I think it was WA2ANC or G. I couldn't quite catch it. WA2ANG or C? Come on ahead.
Yeah, WA2ANG. Wanted to get on the net and ask a question. I have a couple of DVAPs here. I've just built a new one, and I want to try to connect it to my cell phone, and I don't know how to make it so that I can VNC from my phone to get the address of the Raspberry Pi so that I can connect up automatically when I turn on the DVAP Raspberry Pi setup to my cell phone. Any ideas on that?
Okay, so let me make sure I understand your question. Your cell phone, so we're going to need to know, is it Android or Apple? And you would like to know, once your Raspberry Pi, you said DVAP, but I know you mean Raspberry Pi, connects to your cell phone, you need to know the IP address so that you can VNC into your Raspberry Pi. And then, the other question would be, you're running VNC on your cell phone? Is that what you're trying to do? And tell us your name, please. Come on ahead, WA7ANG.
Yeah, WA2ANG. Name here is Tom Tango Ocean Mary. And we're trying to set up a portable unit. I have one at home here that I'm using, Raspberry Pi 3 and a DV Mega. And then I have another, the red DVAP that plugs into a PC. I have that into another Raspberry 3, and I'm trying to connect it up to use as a portable unit with a cell phone as a separate device. And I'm using an iPhone 6S, and I'd like to be able to have it so that when I turn on the when I power up the Raspberry Pi, that I can connect to my iPhone without having to get into the Raspberry Pi, if there's a way to do that. So I'm trying to figure out a way, how can I set it up so that I automatically can connect to the, I'm using the Maryland D-Star, and trying to figure out how to connect it up so that it automatically will connect to my phone and that I don't have to get into the program, the program to set it up to do it.
Okay, I think we got it. So I'm not an iPhone guy, and I'm not really sure how to do that, but let me restate the question. We'll throw it open. So Tom there, W7ANG, or WA2ANG, sorry, I said that wrong the first time as well. He wants to know how he can find out, or how he can set up his Maryland D-Star image to automatically connect to his iPhone 6 whenever it boots up. Anybody have any suggestions? Come on, Ed.
ZL1TZP.
Well, we got Steve in New Zealand there. ZL1. Where'd he go? Oh, yeah, ZL1TZP. Steve, go ahead. You got a suggestion?
Yeah, fine there, Randy. Tom, you're doing what I have been doing. You want to automatically connect your Raspberry Pi to your iPhone. Well, of course, your iPhone, you'll have to turn on your hotspot. So you need to turn that on first. And I have set up my Raspberry Pi with a screen and keyboard, so I can input the Wi-Fi key that you put in your hotspot. And then once that's all set up, if your Raspberry Pi, when you turn it on, will look for a Wi-Fi, automatically connect to it. That should be no problem. The other question you had, I think, was what is your IP address? Well, I use a program that I got from the App Store called Fing, F-I-N-G. That will scan whatever network your phone is connected to and give you the IPs of all connected devices. That's what I use. I hope that helps. Back to net control there, Randy. This is ZL1VQ, ZL1TZP.
Sounds like some good advice there from Steve. So, Tom, did you get that? So, Steve says, turn on your iPhone, or turn on its hotspot, and then connect a screen and a keyboard to your Raspberry Pi, at least temporarily, so you can manually configure it to connect. Thereafter, it should connect without the screen and keyboard. You just got to turn your hotspot on your iPhone first before you boot up your Raspberry Pi. And the program from the iPhone App Store, Fing, will scan and tell you the IP address. Back to you, Tom.
Okay, very good. Very good, Randy. And thanks, Steve, for the suggestion of FING. I will look for that. I'm pretty close. I think it should be. I'm going to work on it again tomorrow, and hopefully I can get that going. So thanks for that suggestion, Steve. WA2ANG.
Let's see. So looks like you got it here. Yeah. I would add there maybe another thing if you want to do it is add two Wi-Fi networks. So if you boot up your Raspberry Pi at home and then your iPhone is not on, it would connect to your home Wi-Fi. And then as a secondary one, you can put it in there so that when you boot up the Raspberry Pi and it doesn't see your home Wi-Fi around, it would try to connect to your iPhone. Secondly, that might be a nice setup. Let's see. I see ZL1TZP keyed up again. Do you have something further, Steve? Go ahead.
Yeah, finally, Randy. Yeah, good suggestion having the two Wi-Fi set up. I was just going to say, if Tom, I think it was, wants to get hold of me for further questions, I can be found at X870 Module B. So if he's got any further questions about it, because I have done it and I do it on occasion. So just thought if you'd like to talk again, that's where you can find me. Back to net control.
K2IL8.
Okay, and we got K2IH there. So Tom, he's on X Reflector XLX870 Module B. You can actually talk to him if you need to. Let's go to K2ILH. Come on ahead.
Yeah, okay, fine business. just interesting to monitor that. Since he is using the Maryland D-Star image, I wonder, on the GUI screen, the graphic screen for that image on the Pi, there is an icon for setting up Wi-Fi. And I wonder if he looked into using that means of setting up the connection to his cell phone as a hotspot. This is K2ILH.
Well, I am thinking not, because we suggested he hook up a keyboard and monitor to it. It sounded like he hadn't done that before. So, Tom, have you tried hooking up the keyboard and monitor to it, your Maryland, and connecting through to your iPhone yet? Go ahead, Tom.
Yes, I have. I have connected it up, and I've got it working, but it's not really automatic. It seems like every time that I want to make the cell phone work, I have to get into that Wi-Fi window and say connect. So I have to actually get back into, have a terminal there and get back into the Raspberry Pi. It won't seem to do it automatically. Go ahead.
Okay, and so when I tried Maryland before, what I noticed was it has a different version, something called YCD, WICD, that it uses to connect to Wi-Fi, which is different than the standard Raspbian image. So all of these programs that you use, you click on the screen in the graphical user interface and you tell it to search and then it gives you a list and you click on one. All it's doing is it's modifying the WPA supplicant program. So what I might suggest is the fundamental program that connects to Wi-Fi is with the Raspberry Pi is called WPA supplicant. So if you Google for that, you can find a way that you can just edit a text file on your Raspberry Pi and it will connect directly. So it's a text file configuration thing. WPA supplicant. Google for that. Let's see. I want to just make sure you got that, Tom, and then we're going to move on. This is W4LKS, and we're getting close to an hour and a half here for the Raspberry Pi D-Star net, so we're going to wind it up pretty soon. Did you get that WPA supplicant there, Tom?
Yes, I did. WPA supplicant. I got that and noted, and I'll give that a look up and experiment a little bit more tomorrow. Thanks a lot, guys. WA2ANG.
Yep, and you set up a text file in there like you see instructions all over the net, and it'll just try to connect to the first one that's in that text file, and if that doesn't work, it'll try to connect to the second one and the third one and so on. So when all else fails, it seems like that works, for me anyway. Terrific! Another problem solved. Let's see if there's anybody else that wants to check in to tonight's net. Come on ahead with your name and your call sign. All right, last chance to check into the Raspberry Pi D-Star net for tonight. Come on ahead.
WA2ANG VE5RS.
Well, let's see. I saw Tom WA2ANG and Ron in Saskatoon VU5RS. Stand by, Ron. Let's go back to Tom. Go ahead, Tom.
Nothing more here. Just thanks for the info, and I'm going to sign out here. And nice to meet everyone here on the net. This is my first time on the, and nice to meet everyone. And we're going to say 7-3. Thanks a lot, guys.
Well, thanks a lot, Tom. Pleasure to hear from you and talk to you tonight. 7-3 to you as well. Let's go up to Saskatoon. That's where Ron is. V5RS. Hi, Ron.
Yeah, okay, good evening, Randy. Well, just listening to the net here, I had it up on our local repeater here, so give other guys that don't have hotspots a chance to listen to it. And I run a couple pies here and been playing a little bit this week with the Whisper board I have on my Raspberry Pi 3. And that's good. I also run BB4 Mini on there, but not. Of course, when that Whisper board kicks off, I think it shuts down the RF it generates within it. I guess probably bothers the dongle on there. But anyway, that's okay. It's good, a little thing to play around with, and works pretty good. And I've worked quite a few stations have heard me with just 10 milliwatts. Anyway, and I can put it up to 20 milliwatts when I run that Whisper bowl on 20 meters. Anyway, that's it. I'll let check in here before you close it off there, and thanks for doing the net. This is Ron in Saskatoon, V5RS.
So do you use FL Digi with your Whisper board there, Ron? Come back, please.
No, I usually run another program, Whisper X, on my other radio to receive, and I just use. There's a program that I use. And I'm just trying to think. It's called Whispery Pi, I think is the name of the program. And in there, you just, in the terminal window, you run a command that has your call sign and your, the band you're on, and how much power you're going to run. And I think if I put a 20 in there, puts out 100 milliwatts. And if I put 10 in there, it's just how many dB, I guess, so it puts out 10 milliwatts then. And it just goes out and keeps running until you do a Control C. And or to stop it. And other than that, it just, I think it'll just keep on looping on there. So, and of course it doesn't receive, so it just sends, and you use your other radio to receive and check the Whisper site to see what stations are hearing you. So, anyway, that's and the site that I use for that information is whisper.org, WSPR.org, I think it's, if I recall. And anyway, back to you.
Okay, real good. Thanks for helping me understand there. So, yeah, WhisperX to receive on another computer, and Whispery Pi is a command line program that does controls the Whisper board on your Raspberry Pi for transmission only. Very cool. Cool stuff. Thanks for sharing that, Ron. Appreciate it. Good to hear from you again. All right, let's see. One last call for anybody that wants to check in to the Raspberry Pi D-Star Net before we shut it down. Come on ahead now.
Whiskey 5 Tango Charlie November.
K7MTD. KC9SIO.
All right, I got three more there. I got W5TCN, K7MTD, and KC9SIO. It says Bicycle Mobile. So stand by. We're gonna go to W5TCN first. Go ahead, sir.
W5 TCN, sorry I missed out on the beginnings of it. I forgot all about y'all's Raspberry Pi that was on the night. I apologize there, but I did want to get in for the credit.
All right, I got you down there, W5TCN. It says Everett, Washington, so you're 5 and 7 land. What's your name, sir?
I'm in Denton, Texas. Denton, Texas. I'm in, I have a daughter that's up there in 7 land. She's on D-Star 2 or starting out. Name's Jim. Juliet, India Mike through the colony, through the Denton County, W5NGU repeater, Port B.
All right, very good, Jim, in Denton, Texas. There you go. Well, the radio you're using has a message that says W5PCN Everett, Washington. So might want to look into that because it's announcing you're in Everett, but you're actually in Texas. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. Thanks for keying up saying howdy. Let's go over to Dave in Missoula. Hi, Dave. K7MTD.
Hello, Randy and all. I know you're running late. I just wanted to check in with the number and enjoy the net as usual. K7MTD.
Oh, great to hear from you. Thanks for checking in. Got you on the list. And let's see. Very good. KC9SIO. Are you Bicycle Mobile? Isn't it dark there in Champaign?
Well, good evening, Randy, and everyone on the Raspberry Pi D-Star Net. I've been listening halfway, off and on. Still trying to get this 2350 LU data cable to work. Right now, I'm messing with the driver installation guide. The only driver installation guide I have for Windows 7 is in Japanese. Now, Jim WA7BFQ, he told me on Facebook Messenger that that it was there's a translator somewhere, but I can't find it, so I think I'm gonna have to ask him to tell me exactly where he is. So anyway, that's what I've been working on today. Basically, I got to install the drivers, and for Windows 7, and I don't know how to do it. And the installation guide is all in Japanese. The only installation guide
in English is the one for Windows 8, I believe. Let me see. I believe it's the one for Windows 8 and Windows 10. I believe it's the only two installation guides in English. Or no, excuse me, Windows 8. The only installation guide in English. The rest of them are in Japanese, including Windows 7. So I'm still trying to figure this out. But anyway, everybody have a great night. I'll catch all of you next week, and I'll catch all of you next week when I'm Net Control. Next Monday night, W4LKS and the Raspberry Pi D-Star Net from KC9SIO 73 all the way around.